I've divided this whole video into 4 parts. One is what is paraphrasing? Why is paraphrasing important? The science of paraphrasing. There are 4 methods again of paraphrasing, and in each method I'll give you an example of how the paraphrasing is used, and in the end I'll give you a complete example where we use more than one method. Signposting. Hi everybody, welcome back to TELW, the English Workshop. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Manu and I make weekly videos on English language elements to help you speak English clearly and comfortably, and therefore improve your communication skills as well. In today's video, we're going to look at one particular English language element, which is actually a communication skills element, let's say. That's paraphrasing. What's paraphrasing? I can define paraphrasing as telling the same thought in your own words. That's all there is. So what it simply means is, conceptually, you listen to something or you read something and you form a picture in your mind. And that is what you've understood. Then put that picture out, describe it in your own words. That's paraphrasing. We're going to look at 3 things. Why do you need paraphrasing? Why is it important? How to paraphrase, especially sentences, and how to use that paraphrasing chunks, the signposts. 3 things. First, why is paraphrasing important? It's important for 2 main reasons. One is you're able to understand that and you'll know yourself whether you've understood what you heard or what you read. One. Number 2, in face-to-face communication or even telephonic communication, the speaker will realize that you've understood it. They will know that you've understood what they're saying, and they'll keep up their end of communication. That's a part of your active listening. So all the advantages of active listening will accrue with paraphrasing, right? Now, let's look at where paraphrasing is important. Let's say in a job interview, your interviewer asks some questions, and if you didn't understand that, you can paraphrase it. Did you mean to say this? And the interviewer says yes, then you already formed an answer in your mind. Now let's look at further. When you get into the job, you make presentations, for instance, or some other situations, and the audience asks some questions and you don't understand that question, or you need time to understand that question, or you need to recollect yourself, you need to regroup yourself. Then you can paraphrase this question. If I understand you correctly, you ask me this question and they will say yes. That gives you enough time to formulate an answer. Now, let's look at a third situation where, let's look at a professional consultant, for instance, a doctor and a patient. So when the patient tells their problems, as a doctor, you can actually paraphrase that. That has got 2 advantages again. One is you've understood that, and 2, the patient realizes, okay, the doctor's understood what I'm saying, and he'll give more information. And if you don't paraphrase, if you appear to be not listening, the patient is going to clam up and your treatment is all going to go awry. Bad luck. Same with the lawyer. The lawyer listens to the client says something, the lawyer paraphrases, and the client gives more information. Now another one is the salesman. The salesman listens to his customer, the customer says something, the salesman paraphrases what the customer says, his problems or his requirements, and he gets the customer over to him. He wins the customer. It's very important because he listens to the customer. Now let's look at the negotiation table. You paraphrase what the other party is saying, and that helps you formulate your responses properly. Now for the IELTS students, you need to paraphrase as well. Now, when you're in a listening test, you can paraphrase the examiner's question to you. In your reading as well, you need to paraphrase the text and then search for the answer. In your writing skills, again, you need to paraphrase the question, paraphrase the question, put that as a part of your introduction. So paraphrasing is a very important part of everyday communication. It's so important that I don't think there's any place where you don't paraphrase. Right. Now, let's look at how you paraphrase. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of objectivize this idea of paraphrasing. It's essentially very subjective. It is, well, how is it subjective? Like I said in the beginning, you listen or read and you form a picture, then you describe the picture in your own words. That's the art of paraphrasing. Now, there's a little bit of science to it as well. And I've classified it into 4 parts. There are let's say 4 methods of paraphrasing. Let's call it methods. The first is you use synonyms. Second is you change the voice, active, passive voice. Third is you change the form of your statements. And the fourth is you change the order of the words. Let's look at each of these things one after the other. First is synonyms. What are synonyms? Words that have the same meaning. For instance, let's say attractive, beautiful, they are synonyms. But they're not synonyms, and this is the caveat here, that a caution that you have to understand. Attractive isn't exactly same as beautiful. Because for me, maybe a car is attractive. I like it. I like to look at it, but it's not really beautiful. If I'm looking at it, I'm comparing it to a flower, for instance. A flower is beautiful. The car is beautiful. No, they're not beautiful. A flower is beautiful. Maybe the car is attractive. So they're not exact synonyms, but they are synonyms when you look at it from a particular perspective. In other words, synonyms are real synonyms only with reference to the context. Let's get an example of this paraphrasing using synonyms. Let's say somebody says, let's have lunch at the restaurant. Great. I can paraphrase it and say, you mean eat out? Great paraphrasing. Now, like I said, there's a caution with the synonyms. You can't use the same synonym in every context. I'll give another example. Let's say the original sentence is, obesity is a major problem among the teenagers in Delhi. Right. If I'm going to paraphrase this as Delhi's youth is fat, okay? Obese, synonym is fat. It's not very far off. Medically, okay, obese is more than fat. But yeah, they are synonyms in this case. But is youth a synonym of teenagers? No. Youth is somewhere like between 19 and 30, maybe 35. But teenagers are between 13 and 19 years of age. What could be a better synonym for teenagers? How about young adults? Youngsters, great. So can I say, youngsters of Delhi are too fat? That's a nice paraphrase. So synonyms is very useful, but you can't use synonyms alone. In fact, let me just state this over here. You can use maybe even all 4 of these methods that I've just outlined in paraphrasing. We'll look at this composite paraphrasing in the end. The second method of paraphrasing is change in voice, active to passive and vice versa. I'll give you one example. The builder can say, we completed the flyover in a record 3 months. That can be paraphrased into, the flyover was completed in a record period of 3 months. Instead of completed, I can also say finished. The flyover was finished in a record 3 months. So I've changed the voice. In the second example, I've also added a synonym. So I've used both the methods in this one. The third method is a change in the form. What are forms? Word forms. Nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives. For instance, in a very conversational English, I can say, I go to Jaipur by bus. Right? I can also say the same thing differently. Bus is a noun, I can make it a verb. So I can say, I bus it to Jaipur. So what I did was I changed the form, but I also added another word, eat. So when you change the word form, remember you may have to add some new words, you may have to take away some existing words. Caution, never change the underlying meaning of the original sentence or text. Now I'll give you one concrete example of this. The original sentence is, the increasing cases of anger-related crimes shows that our education system needs to be changed radically. And look at the paraphrase. It'll be, the increasing cases of crimes arising out of anger supports the case for a radical change in our education system. Let's analyze this. Anger-related crimes has been changed to crimes arising out of anger. Changed radically has been paraphrased into a radical change in. Now, our education system needs to be changed has become a radical change in our education system. Shows has been paraphrased into supports the case for. So that was a change in the word form. The entire form of the word is changed. The fourth method of paraphrasing is change in word order. What do you mean? Word order, see the basic word order, SVO, grammar, actor, action, receiver, that's fixed. Look at our video on this word order, English word order. The description should be given somewhere down below. Or maybe it's here on top or here, maybe a button over there, I don't know. Check it out. Now, that is actor, action, receiver remains same, unchanged. You don't touch it. Then what's the word order that you're going to change? For instance, if I say, I eat apples every day at school, I can change the word order by saying, every day I eat apples at school, as a paraphrasing. At school, I eat apples every day. Or I can say, at school every day I eat apples. Different ways of saying the same sentence. I haven't changed the original meaning. There is a small change in the connotation depending upon what comes in the beginning, what comes in the end. And that is a risk we all have to take in this paraphrasing business. Let's take an example. If violence increases, the police can resort to water cannons. Great. Now, here's another way I can paraphrase it. The police can resort to water cannons if violence increases. So I just swapped the two bits. The if bit, the then bit, swap them. Right. Now, here's another way. I can also say the police can use water cannons should the disturbances rise. Now, that's swapping. Compare it with the original statement. The swapping, number one. Number two, disturbances, violence. Increase, rise. So I use synonyms over here. And instead of if, I used should. No difference dramatically from the original sentence, but meaning is same, so I've paraphrased it using my own words. Now in this example, I've used the indefinite article in the beginning and a definite article the towards the somewhere in the middle. If you're confused about why I used and the, go to our videos on articles. We have two videos on definite articles and indefinite articles and a third one where you don't use articles. Watch them to clear the confusion and give them a like if you like them. Okay, and the last part of this video is signposting. How do we signpost paraphrasing? What do you mean by signpost the paraphrasing, for heaven's sake? I'll tell you. Now, when you're paraphrasing, you're telling the speaker that you are trying to reflect his thoughts. And the speaker will wait. Okay, then he will wait to know whether you've understood what he is saying. You use chunks like, if I understood you correctly, what you're saying is, what you mean is, etc. There's a list of those chunks given in the description below. read that out whenever you need to paraphrase. To conclude, I'll take one big example. Let's see how many of these 4 methods we can use in paraphrasing. The original example is, a trip to Jaipur should ideally include a visit to Chokki Dhani to experience the exquisite Rajasthani hospitality and cuisine. I can paraphrase it to, if you go to Jaipur, don't forget to go to Chokki Dhani to taste the great Rajasthani food and friendliness. Let's analyze this paraphrase. A trip to Jaipur should include, and I said, if you go to Jaipur, don't forget to do this. Number 2, this paraphrase is an if statement. So if you go to Jaipur, don't forget to do this. So it's a change in form. Third, the Rajasthani hospitality has become Rajasthani friendliness. Cuisine has been changed to food, so we use that synonym method as well. So we've changed the synonym, we've used the synonym method, changed the word order as well. Although the order of the clauses hasn't been changed, there's still a change in the order of the words. Not to a very great extent, though. And I've again changed the form, the normal sentence to an if sentence. So that's the example of paraphrase, complete paraphrase. You can use this, you must use these 4 examples. See, this is kind of confusing. So watch this video as many times as you need till you get this right. See, the science of paraphrasing using these 4 methods will make that art of paraphrasing that I mentioned earlier, not drawing the picture and describing it, much simpler. Paraphrasing. So, if you like this video, well, considering that you've watched it so far, you would certainly have liked it. Hit the like button and share it with others as well. Let them also take the benefit. Do some social service there. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, put them in the comment section below. And for those of you who are new, subscribe as well. Come on, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon and get more of those videos coming directly to you. Until the next video, bye-bye.